There we go. Hello, hello, beautiful stars. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday night on June 12th of 2025. I am usually never here on a Thursday night, nor never here at 10 p.m. my time, Eastern time, because I am a star of the morning, but thank you for being here. I see that Seeker of Truth and Lori are in the chat. Good day, ladies. Hello. Yes. So, well, tonight I am live. I'm Courtney, the host of Stars of the Morning Light, and I will be discussing reincarnation, soulmates, soul contracts, soul groups. I don't think I want to talk about twin flames right now because yeah, I'm not really interested in talking about that. And I will tell you, because I think this is the first time ever in Stars of the Morning Light history that I took a little bit of a gummy before I got here. Yes, about 10 minutes ago. And I am in a bit of a, I didn't just take a gummy, I also took Benadryl. I took Benadryl and a gummy. Let's see what happens, folks. So, thank you, Shelley. Seeker of Truth 2 said, good subjects, Court. You know, this was going to be a video, and I just couldn't get myself to record. I just wasn't feeling it. And tonight, I have a lot in my mind, a lot in my brain. I will say, I've been working through a bit of disappointment. So just with, you know, the world. Um, so I had a lot in my brain and I went, let's go live and just do your thing and not worry about which way it goes. Just let it all out, let it flow. So that's what I'm here to do. That is what I'm here to do. I did pick a card for us, folks, which is wonderful. It is from the Sacred Geometry deck, number 12, Change. The frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. I will hold this card up. Try to not get the glare. Oh, the glare is kind of coming in, folks. Probably because it's night. There we go. That's not too bad. Change. When this card dropped at a minute before I hit go, I went, okay, yep, because that is where my mind is at. My mind is having a difficult time understanding how right now, we've never gone through this. We've never gone through this because I'm going to be talking about reincarnation. I'm going to be talking about how old your soul is and why you might be feeling and experiencing things right now because you've been here many, 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 many times, eons, millenniums, cycles ending, cycles beginning, the beginning and the end. Most of us have experienced it at some point. So, with that being said, right now, 2025, June definitely of 2025, is a grand opening to being able to see, grab, obtain, choose whatever potentiality you so want to live. If you want to jump a completely different timeline, go for it. If you want X, Y, and Z for you and yours, go for it. The infinite potentialities, they're wide open. Everything is wide open. And but that means everything is wide open. All potentialities are open for us to grab. And it's hard for someone like myself to witness the choices of what people are choosing to want to grab, right? When we have infinite, infin anything, anything, we can have it be. We can have it be ours. We can have it be for humanity, our community, our family. It can be so. So it's fascinating to watch. And what I mean is right now, so if you're watching this 10, 20 years from now, oh, I hope we all chose. Um, right now, about 2, 3 nights ago, I something came through my feed and I went, "What?" And I went, I guess I have to pay attention to what's going on with the world because I don't." Well, then I tried to like search for what was going on in the world, and I'm really crappy at that. And so I couldn't really do that. That didn't work that well. So now I use my phone to work with me, not against me. And I called somebody early this morning. I went, "Hey, what's going on in the world?" And we had a conversation. Well, based on that conversation, because my phone is listening to me, I've had tons of stuff in my feed. Thank you, phone, for working with me, not against me. So I know what's going on in the world right now. This is like the first day of me really knowing what's going on in the world. The world. So I planned on doing this video. I planned on recording this video. I was supposed to do it all day long. I've been doing a bunch of different stuff. Bunch of different stuff because of what is going on in the world in June of 2025 leading into all the protests, all the here in the States, what's going on, just all over the world. So, it's interesting to me how this is all unfolding. Not just because we could choose anything. We could literally choose anything, anything, instantaneous manifestation. It is ours. Jump multiple timelines, move about, see what you like. That's the potential right now. We're not. We're choosing the exact same thing that we've done every single time. Every single time. And so I don't know if it's um, a lack of awareness or if it's our souls get into this repetitive nature, this repetitive cycle. You could call it reincarnation, repetitive cycle that our souls get so used to doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, or we get very comfortable doing that, that we don't, I can't believe this card popped out, change. That we don't change. Here's an example from my own soul. I have died many multiple times from some form of breathing issue, let's say. It could have been TB. It could have been uh I- it could have been fire, and the fumes got me. Um, it could have been all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's been many a times that I died from something's wrong with my lungs or lack thereof oxygen. Okay. So my soul is used to that. My soul is used to dying by that. So what have I done the majority of this life? I've been preparing to die like that. I can change it at any time. but it's based off of, well, it's what we know. It's what we know to do. That's it's just another walk in the park. I can change it at any time. But we get very comfortable, or we keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results and calling them lessons, quote unquote. So let's get into this, folks. Let's get into what is reincarnation? What is a soulmate? What are soul groups? What is this contract thing? Let's get into it because maybe it's people aren't aware that they really are doing the same thing over and over again and calling it lessons instead of changing, instead of taking this moment, this grand opportunity to choose differently, to do anything differently, anything. It starts small, becomes big. It doesn't matter anything differently. So, Shelley said that she took change or she pulled realization. She has a sacred geometry deck, and when she's live with me and I pull cards, she pulled realization. Nice. Nice. Okay, yeah, the two cards probably do go together. Change and realization. You can't make a change unless you realize one's needed. So, yeah, right? Right? Definitely. So, let's get into it, folks. Oh, beloved stars, keep shining. Just keep shining. Reincarnation, soul. I'm gonna try to make this very I hope I make this very simple, sweet, understandable, digestible. People love to say that we are a spiritual being living a human experience, right? I would rather people start saying, I'm a human being living a spiritual experience, because that would change things up. But that's neither here nor there. So let's take for just granted that you do believe that you are a spiritual being, you're an energy being, you're a spiritual being of some form. And if I do have to cough, I apologize. That's why I took the Benadryl, because it has not actually rained here where I live in the Tennessee Valley area of the United States. It just lingers. And so I've been pretty much breathing in water for days now instead of it actually breaking and raining. So I have a bit of a cough. Once again, my lungs know how to prepare themselves for the end, right? I can change that at any time. So, you're a spiritual being. I'm going to take it that everybody that's watching this feels that way, thinks that way, can roll with that. Spiritual being, a soul. Now, what exactly is a soul? Your soul is consciousness. Soul is consciousness. We've talked about it here before on this show or on this program, this channel. That what people reference as the God spark, that flame within, is not the same as consciousness, right? God spark usually refers to those who have been here for a very long time, or they are from somewhere else originally. And when I say a very long time, it could have been Earth many a times over. So I don't know if I've ever said this before. I know I've referred to other prophecies out there, different ones from like Asia, different ones from our natives. I know I've talked about other prophecies. I am going to tell you, for me personally, as one who um, speaks with the Akashic, I believe that we are headed into the end of a cycle of our 8th cycle. We're ending an 8th. So we've done this 7 times. We lived through a great amount of the 8th, and we're headed into the ending of an 8th and beginning of a ninth. So now imagine if some of you could have been here for a long time, a very long time. How many cycles have come and gone? What do I mean by a cycle coming and going? I mean the destruction of the earth. There you go. Because that's the only way we've done it so far. We haven't changed that yet. Change. I will hold the card up when I speak. Change. That is how we've done it. That's how we've done it. So, by what I know, it has been 3 times of us blowing us to bits, just blowing everything away, blowing it up. 3 times of blowing it up, and 4 times of some kinda huge catastrophe, great flood. That's the one everybody knows about, the flood. There's been 4 of those. There's been 4 different natural disasters of the ending of humanity. 4. And there's been 3 that we chose to blow everything up. How do you think the balance is gonna happen this time if we're at the 8th? It's a choice. We can always change that. We have infinite potentialities. I feel like I'm being strong here. I don't mean to be. I did take a gummy. That shouldn't be an excuse, but I'm very passionate right now. I'm very passionate. It just so happens, and I'll get back to the soul thing. You gotta bear with me when I'm like this, right? So you gotta bear with me because stuff will come out of my mouth and you take it, you take leave, whatever, it's fine. So um it is not a coincidence, I should say, because there are no real coincidences. This Saturday, I will not be here for the esoteric tea. Lucky and he graciously pre-recorded with me so it could air on my channel this Saturday night, esoteric tea at 8 p.m., June 14th of 2025. Because I decided back in November that what the community around me needed that day, because there were plenty of days open and available, what the community would need that day is to come together on top of a mountain and share and embrace each other and play and dance and drum and fire and all sorts of stuff, to be a community, to come together and enjoy each other, to celebrate our similarities amongst our differences, to be in the harmony and the love that can be present. I chose that day. And I am hoping that when we do that, that all that energy from the top of Signal Mountain in Chattanooga can go out to all the land, all the land. That is what I'm hoping. Um, so there wasn't a coincidence, but that is how you are the light. That is how we can be the light opposed to other. We can demonstrate for the world how community really is. Everybody thinks a community is under one roof or they all meet on a Sunday morning. No, all of humanity is community. All of humanity is one big community. And some of you might have just laughed in your head and said, yeah, that's run by like cult leaders. Oh, beloveds. It's so funny. There wouldn't be any cult leaders if there weren't any followers. If there was just a community of all acceptance, not a power struggle, no jealousy, greed, competition, any of the seven deadly sins. If all of that was not present, hmm. So it needs to be demonstrated, right? It needs to be demonstrated so people can see that it is a thing, that it's possible, because it is. All infinite potentialities. It is, right? So that's where I will be on Saturday night because I'm hosting it and we're going to have a great old time and we're going to send a whole lot of love out from the top of that mountain. Yes, we are. So, yes, back to your soul. Your soul. I already know enough about my soul. Let's talk about yours. Your soul has probably been here many times. I cannot, I've done so many readings in my life. I knew it as a child. Pretty much everybody at this time period in our collective consciousness, the fact that all of the potentialities are even open, which do take that in. That's all the best potentialities that could ever happen for individuals and the collectives. Also, all the worst. They're all open. They're all open. So, I've always known the majority of you, all of them being born now, all of you that are alive now, you're an old soul. You're an old soul. There's no like new souls coming in right now. That's not how this is going to go right now. I'm not saying it wasn't before. I'm just saying right now, if you are alive right now, you are an old soul. Old soul. And to the extent of how old you are, I'm going to say the majority of you are at least just post flood or definitely pre flood. Why do I say this? At least the flood. So now we're headed into the eighth ending of a cycle, by the way. So some of us have gone through this countless of times, it feels like. So imagine that though. That actually the majority, let's just say the majority, were here pre-flood. Pre-flood. Because that was the last one, was the flood. The Hindu Sumerian text when, the gods are fighting and everything's getting blown up. And yeah, the world got blown up. Where do you it's so funny that like I love watching Ancient Aliens and whatnot. I do. I love it. I just sit there and I'll do my work while it's playing in the background. And I love all these shows that talk about how Mars is probably a moon that was attached to another planet, right? And there were probably maybe 2 moons. What happened to that other planet and the other moon because there's many planets have 2 moons. I don't know if you guys know that there are ancient stories about how Earth had 2 moons. Well, what happened to our other moon? I will tell you, it also got blown up. It was horrifying. So, we at one time also had 2 moons. Yeah. How else do you see in the dark if you don't know how to light it up inside? So, your soul, has probably been here, I'm going to say pre-flood. That was the last cycle ending. So now imagine it's gone through all the lives since then. All the lives, all the lives, all the lives. You just keep coming back. All the lives. You're gonna come back. All the lives. You're coming back, right? All the lives, all the lives, all the lives. From pre-flood, so you either experienced the flood yourself, or maybe you got lucky and you departed from this earth and watched the flood happen from somewhere else and went, "Oh my goodness, I gotta get back." Why do you think we keep coming back? It's not to learn lessons. I'm gonna talk about that lessons thing, by the way. And you saw it and you went, "Oh my goodness, they did it again. I gotta get back because 'cause you're a spiritual being here for a reason, right? And you went, "Oh my goodness, I gotta get back because no matter what it takes, I'm gonna remember who I am, and I'm gonna help to make sure nothing like that ever happens again." So, but you have that in your consciousness. Your consciousness, your entire ness of who you are, you have that experience in there. Regardless if you remember it or not, it's there, right? So now imagine all the humans, all of a huge percentage, I would say probably off the top of my head, 88% of all the humans on the planet now did experience the flood in some way, shape, or form. At least 88%, probably more like 93, maybe even 96 of all the humans. So now we have been feeling for the past decade. Well, geez, especially because the Mayan calendar kind of threw things off for people. But let's say a decade. We've been feeling this something bubbling within, bubbling. We don't really, we can't identify it. Where it's hard to identify. It's because our soul knows there is going to be another cycle ending. But we have always had the choice as to how that happens. So the soul within us is going, "Oh my goodness, change now. Oh my goodness, this has to happen. Oh my goodness, I have to heal greatly. Oh my goodness, I have to do all this. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Save the world, save the world, save the world." But how it's coming out of all the humans is very interesting. Very interesting because we are kind of igniting the same thing we've always done. So it's due to that feeling. That feeling. We don't have a memory of it. That's fine. But I can guarantee you probably have been through a cycle ending. And so that feeling, that it's like an immense feeling at times. That's the cause. That's the cause. That's the root of that. That's why one day you're doing okay, and the next day you just feel it. You feel it. Many of us have lived over and over and over again. I see Kim came in. Good to see you, my dear. So I'm going to keep going. We'll get back to the lessons. We'll get back to the cycle ending. We'll get back to the most glorious time that has ever been presented to us energetically wise. I'm going to say right now, for us humans, because you're also human. You're also human. You got to accept your humanness. It's flipping awesome. You're a human. That's why I want to flip that saying. That saying actually It's getting very outdated. That saying, as I started with, of your spiritual being living a human experience. No, let's flip that. So then there can actually be some progress. You are a human being living a spiritual experience. Oh, hey, look at all that change happen. Look at all that change happen. We do not need to accept the human experiences. Not if we flip it into a spiritual experience. Oh, what do you think we're doing here? Oh, beloved Miss Kim, you might have missed. I did have a gummy, so whatever's gonna come out of my mouth comes out of my mouth, but I love having you here, darling. Anyways, so I really do want that saying to change. Maybe I'll just have to keep saying it over and over again. Take that in though. Imagine if we changed that saying that everyone posts and everybody says. Be a big difference now, wouldn't it? So you are human. You're human first. You're it's humans that walk this earth. It's humans, these beautiful, beautiful bodies, this body of form. It's a human body of form. So all these beloved humans, I think I totally lost my track, but that's fine. As you're a human, you've been living over and over and over again. Oh, that's what it was. Is I want to get out of the cycles ending and move into this whole soulmate thing. I'll get into your I'm going to end with what's up with the cycle. It is our choice. The time now, the infinite potentialities. Um and I will end on well, I'll put a nice little bow on everything. How about that? So, soulmates. Soulmates. So, you are a human being living a spiritual experience with some mates. Cool. Isn't that great? Everybody wants some friends. Everybody wants some partners. Nobody wants to be alone. No man is an island unto himself. Nobody wants that. So, you got some mates. Awesome. That's good. Soulmates. Soulmates are based on those soul contracts. Soul contracts, which is an odd word to say. I don't really like it as a contract, but it's the right word that we have to explain it. Soul contracts. So let's say you have an extensive contract with someone, a very binding contract, and it's got a ton of different addendums. And I mean, this thing is thick, right? And both of you have signed on the dotted line and said, yeah, I plan to do this with you over and over and over again. And within this contract, it's going to be let's help each other live a spiritual experience over and over again with this and this and this and this and this. Not learn a lesson. Let me help you develop your spiritual awareness with this and this and this and this, right? Soul contracts. You can call them lessons if you want, but that'll be at the end as well, because there really is only one lesson. I have said here on my channel before that there's only a few. That's because I was debating on how many examples do I have to give to explain the one. There's only one lesson. And it's already been demonstrated. It's already been talked about. It's already been given a million examples, but we still deny it. So, you got these contracts. If it is a soulmate, that is a ongoing mate, as in you have a life together and it's a very intimate relationship. These kind of soulmates that have these big, thick contracts that are recurring in your lives, that is a particular mate. That is not a twin flame. That's a different thing. That is a particular mate, and they serve great purpose. And it could be in this life, they are your intimate romantic partner. In a past life, they were your kid. You were siblings. You were all different kind of relationships, right? Oh, I'm gonna put that cough drop in, folks. Okay, so, but it could be you have a life together, and then you have like 2 or 3 not together, then you have another one together, then you have 4 or 5 not together, then you have 1 together. You've been here for a long time. Then, but it's a continuous that you keep meeting up. Ooh, sorry. These lights, man. There we go. So, that is a soulmate that you have a extensive contract with. Beautiful. That is who the connection is so strong. We love them. We want to see them succeed. They want to see us succeed, right? They really do. They actually really do. But how that can play out in 3D density is wild. Is very wild. Do you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because everything in 3D is designed for you to choose yourself. For you to choose yourself. To step out of the density, to step out of the the crazy game board. So let me explain. So we have, let's say we have a challenging parent or a challenging partner. I am in no way saying you leave the partner or you leave the parent, what have you. Que sera, sera. Do you. What I'm saying though is in that relationship, at some point, it is a demonstration that we're supposed to respond with, I choose me. I choose me. So if it's a difficult parent, I choose me. A difficult relationship, spouse, what have you, I choose me. You can still be with that spouse, you can still be in contact with your parent, but I choose me. What does that mean? That doesn't mean in a selfish way. That means I love me. I'm going to love me. I'm not going to take the criticism, the abuse, the backbiting. I'm not going to take whatever may or may not be going on, right? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to heal and love myself. I'm not going to keep placating to you. I'm not going to keep running around in circles for you. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to focus on me and love me. Everything in 3D is actually designed for you to choose that for yourself, love yourself, because when you can love yourself, you're then able to reflect it back out to others. Everything in 3D is designed that way. It's so interesting because it's like everybody talks about this game that we got to beat, beating the game, blah, blah, blah. When it's more like this weird labyrinth of turns and hidden passages, and we don't know what's around the corner, and all this stuff happening. And we can hear things in the distance of like, oh, I shouldn't go down that way, but they're saying go this way. Or in the meantime, let me clean all this up, all this debris, so I can actually get through to the other side. It's this very weird labyrinth of life. That's where the point of labyrinth came from, by the way. It's a very weird labyrinth of life. That in it though, if we just stopped, if we just stopped still for a minute and went, wait, I've been lost for eons now. I've been lost. Why the hell am I lost? And all of a sudden, hand to heart, and you go, I know who I am, and I love myself. I have been traveling this damn thing for so long, searching for who I am and what my soul is. It's been with me the whole time. It's been with me the whole time. I know who I am, and I love myself. It's as if the hedge that has been keeping you from who you really are and the beautiful potentialities that you can just witness and see and take and view, that tall hedge of life that keeps you in the boxes, withers away because all energy dissolves back into itself. And you stand there and you see that all can be before you. All is you. All is within you. All of 3D is designed to keep you in a maze, confused, an interesting labyrinth. That labyrinth with you? Oh, it says my connection is unstable. So please let me know in the chat if you can still hear me or not. So, that labyrinth of life. Everything in 3D is for you to choose yourself. So, these soul contracts that you keep coming back together with. Actually, I'm going to have to ask you guys because I wonder if you heard me. It's good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That you keep coming back with. Well, you walk some of the maze with them. And at many a times, it gets a little dark. It gets a little scary. It gets a little, what's going on here? It's so in those moments you can go, wait a minute. I'm a human experiencing a spiritual. Hand to heart. I'm going to light it up because I'm going to choose me. And then that other person that you're in a contract with sees that. And they go, whoa, you did it. You did it. You chose yourself. I want to choose myself. I wonder what that feels like. You're actually both helping one another. But it truly takes choosing oneself. That is how 3D is designed. So if you ever want to know how to beat the game, well, that's the first thing you can do. That's the first thing you can do. That's the first time that change can come in and be possible. That change can come in and start being possible. So, because it removes all the hedges. It's so funny how we talk about hedges for protection, but yet there's also hedges that keep people in. When you'll see that once that's gone, there's no reason to have a hedge. I think I shared this before, and y'all, this is going to be a rant of my taking Benadryl and a gummy. I know I think I've expressed this before. And this was many, many moons ago in this current life of mine. I was doing at different stages. I was talking with the Christ consciousness for different aspects of my life in a deep meditation state. And the first time, like I'm in a garden and there's a mountain far off to the distance, and he just kind of shows me the mountain. And it is very much implied, that's where you need to go, Courtney. And I was like, damn. Like, really? Really? And so then I heal some more, I heal some more, I heal some more. And I'm with the Christ consciousness again in a meditation, and he's like, "Are you ready?" And all of a sudden he gives me these boots to put on. And so I put these boots on, I'm like, "Yes, I'm gonna get on that mountain. I'm gonna do this." And we start walking and we stop halfway in this big long field on our way to this huge mountain. That was the end of my and I was like, "Why are we stopping?" And he's like, "You'll see." That was the end of my meditation. So I'm thinking, okay, I got my boots. I've been doing good. I just got to keep trudging along. I got to keep walking. I just got to keep getting through it. I got to keep healing, right? Doing my hardest. Well, then after I did all that, because sometimes to heal, you got to start just grinding your teeth and go, yeah, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me, which is awesome. So I'm in another meditation months and months later. And I'm talking to Christ consciousness. And now I must have trudged so damn hard. I'm at the foot of the mountain. And I'm looking up at this thing. I'm looking up at this thing. And then Christ consciousness is next to me. And I'm like, how do you expect me to do that? I can't do that. And Christ said, do you have faith? And I said, in who? And he said, in you, of course. And that took me a moment. I said, I got to get back to you because I didn't know. I didn't know. So then, months later, I am now looking again at the mountain. Christ consciousness is next to me. I said, you still expect me to do this? And he said, do you have faith? I said, in myself? And he said, yes. And I said, now I do. And he said, beautiful. And he said, that's all it takes. You have faith in yourself, Courtney? I said, yes. And he went, well, then there is no mountain. And he just moved it with his hand. And I was like, what? What? And he said, "That's all it takes." Everybody talks so the moral of this is that we put more expectations on a whole bunch of stuff. We're told to do a whole bunch of stuff, and one of these things is to climb this big mountain. Climb this big mountain to get to the potentiality that we so desire. To get through all the hardships and learn all the lessons to get to that pureness, the top, the summit. Oh my goodness. We're taught this when actually Christ said it over and over again. Do you have faith? And he never once was talking about in him. He never once said the words, by the way, in him. He said that he was the truth, the light, and the way. He was saying, live by my demonstration, and you can do all of this too. He never once said, in him. So we just move the mountain. We just move the mountain once we fully embrace ourselves and say, I am a human being living a spiritual experience. I'm free. But do we do that? Do we do that? Apparently not. Over and over and over and over and over again, we don't. And so we have created this concept of learning lessons and created this concept of we got to keep coming back for some reason. That is very different than the one you came here with. It's all about beating the game. It's all how do I get through this? How do I get to that pure state? Um, and it's all about beating the game. When if that is your goal, choose yourself first. And that's at least getting you ahead of the game. Let's say that. But that's where this soulmate contract thing comes up is that the soulmates, could you imagine if all your mates right now, because you got a bunch of them, Your partner, your parents, your kids, your friends. You got a bunch of them. You got a bunch of mates. We're going to talk about groups here in a moment. You got a bunch of mates, your family, cousins, auntie. You got a bunch of mates. Now imagine if every single one of those mates witnessed you going, I choose myself. I'm going to shine. I'm going to choose my potentiality and I'm going to live that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be steadfast focused on living my greatest potentiality. I love my self implicity. There are no mountains, because I believe in myself. Imagine if all your mates saw you do that and then they were inspired to do the same. So let's talk about soul groups. Soul groups. Many soul mates are connected in the same kind of formation of group because it's all based on contracts. So, and this concept of like, hey, once somebody does this in the group, it'll ripple through to everybody else, and then it ripples through, and it ripples through, and it ripples through. This is why the Christ consciousness did say, you will all do greater than I, because he was only one man. We could be all of humanity, one community doing it. So you're here with soul groups based on these soul contracts. It's easy to understand if you just see it as, okay, let's take your parents. You have a contract with both of those parents. Your sibling has a contract with both of those parents, right? So you may or may not have a contract with your sibling. I do not have a contract with my sibling in this life, this current life. I have no contract with her. But that's fine because she has a contract with my mother, and she actually has a contract with who was my biological dad, her stepdad. So she has these contracts. That's how she and I came together. But that's fine because I'm pretty sure she has contracts with a whole lot of my mom's side of the family. I had contracts with people on my dad's side and my mom's side, right? Family units, groups. Now, it's not just your family. So I'm married, right? I have a contract with my husband. He has a contract with all of his family, a bunch of his different family members. That's a group because we're connected in some way, shape, or form. This is just how society works. So oftentimes, and so on and so on. Like your dad had a contract with his siblings, so they got to be around in the mix. Your mom had a contract with her siblings. They got to be around in the mix. You probably had a contract with 2 or 3 of them as well. Soul mates come as far as groups. Now, this group thing, though, think of it generational. Like, people have to be alive to give birth. People have to be alive to come together, to meet up, to get married, to do their thing. They have to be together. They have to be alive to do that. So oftentimes, groups are established long ago. They really have been. What was fascinating to, well, I was about to say witness. I'm going to say witness, and everybody roll with me. Good to see you, Scotty boy. And I think Grace came in too. And Big Dad standing tall. So, these groups, what was fascinating to witness was when the Americas started to be established because so many groups of soulmates had been in the same areas for so long, for a very long time. I'm talking in this timeline that we're currently living, the history that we know of, okay? There were so many groups that kept, being born in, Austria together or in Asia together or in, Scotland together. So many groups just kept being born in the same places, which is natural. You're going to go back to the same region often because why? Grandma and grandpa are there. They're there as a kid. They're there. We keep doing the same thing, right? We go back to the same region because members of our group are there. This is not hard. But whenever I say this, it usually blows people's mind. I'm like, we do this? Yes. Yes, we do this. Whatever that life is going to be for you, that you've kind of negotiated and navigated of like, there's a lot of potential for me to choose myself in this scenario. Let's roll with it. Which please take that in. Usually it takes a whole lot of heartache for you to choose yourself. So we're not choosing a walk in the park. I mean, occasionally, yes, we get lives that are more lax in the torment of 3D, right? But our soulmates, and including you, we're not playing a victim here either. You're just as damaging in whatever lives you might have been in as they were to you. We're learning this during the Edgar Casey series right now on reincarnation. You just keep throwing the ball back and forth. So if you believe you were a saint in this life, taking care of everything, and you're just a victim, like, I've done everything right, I'm a victim. Well, who were you in your last? You're just throwing the ball back and forth. So we're not going to play victim because who were you before? How horrible were you before? You don't know. So we need to move past all that, choose ourself, love ourselves in order to love others, right? So, groups. We tend to keep going at this, into the same location because there's other members alive in that location that we need to keep the story going, right? Keep everything moving. What was interesting, I will say, to witness was when the Americas were starting to be established, because that's when we first got to see more so than not, um, in this history of time, right? That okay, one of your soulmates went, "I'm going over there. I'm going over there." And then so reopened a whole new location for more soul groups to come. So one of your soulmates came over in whatever various ways, right? We're not going to have to get into the history. It was interesting to then see more soul groups come to the Americas and start developing their repeated location in the Americas. It it was interesting to watch. And I say watch because I watched it all unfold. So anyways, this you all know this. This is not anything new for you. I'm just refreshing your memory. So that's our soul groups. And even if you have different contracts that kind of put you on the fringe of the group, right? Like maybe the outskirts of the group, that's still fine because why? All groups are connected. All groups are connected. So imagine your cousin is married to some gentleman, right? And that guy is on the fringe. He's on the fringe of your group. Nobody in your group really has a contract with him other than the wife, your cousin, what have you. That's the only person with a contract. Well, that doesn't mean that that guy doesn't have a contract with his entire group. That's the thread that connects. That's the thread that connects. And the more you can expand out of that and expand out of that and expand out of that, I will tell you the World Wide Web has nothing in comparison to how we are all connected. N No comparison at all. It's elementary. The World Wide Web, AI, elementary compared to how us human beings living a spiritual experience as energy forms, right? We are energy, how that energy flows through how we're all connected in these groups and contracts. It is wow. It's wow. Wow. So that is, you are a part of a soul group. And they will usually, like I said, repeat in the same location many, many times until there is some kind of dramatic move. And then some of the group decides to move the next time and moves the next time, and everybody kind of starts migrating, right, to a new area. That is how it's always been done. So, mates, more closer relationships like spouse, sibling, child, all of that. Best friend, but I mean like friend of like 30, 40 years, right? Some family, other family members, because they're a part of your group. So let's talk this contract thing. Because you can have contracts with your mates. Like, and if they're close and you repeat a lot of the same stuff with that particular mate, your contract is going to be extensive, very extensive, right? At, and the contracts are not, how do I say this? Because I hate using even the word contract, but it's all it's attached to all the previous lives as well. So it's like, da, 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 da. This is where you come into like the somewhat Buddhist mentality or even more Hindu mentality of like, you get together with this mate, you discuss where you're going to meet up, what's going to unfold, how they're going to help you, what's going to happen, da, da, da. That is actually within within the contract. Like, "Hey, this is gonna happen. Are you gonna choose yourself? Oh, you're not? Okay, well, then we're gonna have to do this. Are you gonna choose yourself? No. Okay, then we're gonna have to do this," right? That is all a part of the contract. So ones that you've been in repetition with, you have an extensive contract because you're often, as Edgar Casey would say, you are backstepping. It's like you're just retracing the steps that you already took many lives ago. Here's an example. I actually know you. Let's take a divorce. There's been lots of people I've done readings for that are divorcees, which is fine, right? It's actually oftentimes, "Oh, you chose yourself. Beautiful. Thank you for finally doing that. You needed to stand up and choose yourself, because that's what the point is, at least the first point." Um, a lot of divorcees, they had been with that partner many times, and it's usually the same kind of scenario. However it looked in that time period. Like, if you were together in the 1600s, this is how that theme, as an old English teacher, I use the term theme. The theme of your guys' misuse and abuse of each other played out like this. Why? Because it was the 1600s. Oh, okay. You were together in, I don't know, 1840 as well. Now, you were also together in 819, right? 819. Um, BC. Let's say 819 BC. Okay, so all these times, there's going to be like this ongoing theme of whatever dynamic that is usually playing out in this current life as well. So many times that is also attached to this contract because we're just not getting it through our thick skulls. We're just not getting it. We're not changing, right? As I hold this card up, we're not choosing ourselves. And choosing ourselves, once again, does not mean that you have to get a divorce. It doesn't. I perfectly, wonderfully chose myself and stayed married. And trust me, it was not. Nobody called that one. Let's say it that way. Nobody called that one. So you can choose yourself and or get a divorce. That's a part of the story. That's part of your story. It doesn't matter either way. What I'm saying is oftentimes it's the exact same thing that we're doing with this particular soulmate of some kind of theme, some kind of like with Brad and I, my husband, in every life we have been together, and it isn't intimate. We've been married. He's also been a kid of mine. There's been many of lives, but in every life, um, not on purpose, but in every life, either he or I were what led to the death of the other, or both simultaneously. Like whatever we were doing. Here's an example. So Brad was a child of mine once. Actually not too many lives ago. Um, he was a child of mine. I ran a brothel. I did. And I was that. Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I wasn't that. My girls were. So I ran a brothel. Um, there were a set of train tracks not too far from my establishment. The day that Brad died, and he's young, he's like 7 years old or something. I had who was a really good guy friend of mine in this life, he was in that life with me, and he was getting me a very good deal on, like, a crate full of guns. This is a past life, but it was a really good deal, and I did not wanna pass up this deal because I could also sell those. I mean, I was just that person, okay? So I appointed one of my girls to watch over my son as he and other kids would be playing, like you watch the kids because I'm going to be watching over all these guns being loaded into my cellar and whatnot. Like I'm doing business. Pay attention to my kids. Um, well, she didn't, I have forgiven her. She missed something and Brad was hit by a train. The man I'm married to now was my 7-year-old son who got hit by a train because I was doing some shady shit, okay? So, that sort of scenario has played out with Brad and I over and over and over again, and it could be either him or me or both. That is our theme. That's our theme. Can we just not kill each other, right? So, and yes, I have forgiven that one, and I've actually made penance to that one in this life. I've actually made penance in I for that life big time. I have atoned that life. Trust me. And anything in this life that was associated to that kind of style in this life, I have atoned everything, which is what we should do, right? We should atone these things. So, which means don't do it again. Don't do it again. Don't own a brothel, Courtney. Right, don't do it again. So, change. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Don't own a brothel, Courtney, which believe it or not, folks, my mother had to convince me in this life to not own a brothel. Everything comes back around. I mean, that's not what I was gonna name it, but I was kind of in that business for a moment in my life. Yes, everything comes back around, and I justified it. I justified it. I justified that I was helping because it was already happening, so why don't I help? I justified it. Everything comes back around, as Edgar Casey says. We're just retracing our steps, but we change them. We change them. I'm being very transparent here. I don't know if I've ever been this transparent with the online space. Must have been the gummy and what I did before I got on here. Yes, I had to atone completely and then change. And then guess what? When I got sober, do you know how many women I helped get sober, sat with them in court? uh, they changed their lives drastically because I was holding their hand through it on the other end of that. You atone, you atone, you atone, you change. I did my work. I've done it in every single retracing of the steps. So, soul contracts. What themes do you got going on? What do you think needs to be atoned and changed? Yeah, heal that space. Heal what needs to be healed. Forgive and do completely differently. That's the contract. And in order to do all of that, you gotta say, I love myself. I love myself more to not be what I have always been. I love myself, right? So then you can actually love others, truly love others. It's the only lesson. We'll get to it. So we talked about your soul groups, your soul mates, contracts, though, one more little thing about it. There are people that you have contracts with that are just what we like to say maybe as side characters, side players in your ongoing saga of lives. So here's another example. Brad and I'm giving you all sorts of personal examples. Jeez. Brad and another life. Whoo, hot and heavy. Yeah, we liked each other. Let's say that. Very passionate in that life. Two young people. This is 15th century France. So 1400s France. Yeah. Um I'm not going to go through all the details, but let's say I was accused. They really wanted to accuse who is my mother of this life and who is her sister of this life because I was living with those two ladies out in the woods. Wasn't a good look, right? After they died, so my mother and her sister, who are mother and sister in this current life, right? Everything comes back around. They after they died, word got spread that I was having a good old time with a French soldier, which is my husband of this life. Because I was, we just couldn't keep our hands off each other. I mean, we just, the magnetism, jeez. Um, well, because my mother and her sister had passed, one woman in town felt that it was perfectly fine to come after me. And I don't think she would have came after me if I hadn't been doing what I was doing with Brad, right? I don't think they would have. I think they would have just let me be. But because of that, of course, I'm accused. I'm accused of a lot of things. And of course, I am killed. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to go into details. Um, well, shortly after that, because Brad kind of lost his mind, like wanting to, in his reaction, well, they got rid of him too. They just got rid of him too because he would have then been a, um, you know, um, they got him too. So, not my intention, not that I really wanted it to happen, but Brad and I coming together got us both out of the game board at that time. So, this is an ongoing theme. This is a very ongoing theme. Anyways, the lady who started the persecution in that life, who started the persecution in that life. She I have a contract with her, or I did. So she's a side character. She's not a part of my soul group. I don't have a big contract with her that I'm going to keep doing this stuff with her and over again. But it just so happens I'm in a life now that life is very significant, as in I'm with my husband again. Same mother, or quote unquote mother soul group. Let's just say that. Very similar soul group. I was raised with the same kind of concepts and beliefs as back then, right? And then I turned Christian in this life, I'm speaking. And then I was working at a Christian school. And the woman above me, quote unquote principal, that's questionable. She, wow, the persecution started. And I was Christian, right? But wow, to the point that I got fired for the first time in life. Hmm. So she kind of burned me back then and she burned me again, right? Here's the great thing about that little contract, though. Once again, everything in 3D is designed for you to choose yourself. And I have nothing against Christians. I love Christians. I love everybody. Everything is great. Um, I was raised with more of a witchy mother and a native belief father. That's how I was raised. Then I was a hardcore Christian for at least maybe 5 years. Then it was a Christian who really kept throwing me under the bus, persecuting me, that led to me getting fired for the first time in this life, and then which led me to I don't know what to do with myself. I've been really reading the Bible with all new eyes for the 5th or 6th time, questioning everything over again. I don't know what to do with myself. You know what? I'm going to start practicing this thing called the Akashic Records. I'm going to find out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Because when you lose your job for the first time, fired if that's a whole identity like crisis because we wrap up our identities into the work we do. I felt so lost. I felt so it was just not good. Oh, I somehow spun it that Edgar Casey was also a devoted Christian. He did the Akashic records. I'm going to learn all about Edgar Casey. I'm going to practice this Akashic record thing. I'm going to start looking at that. Which once I started doing that, it brought me right back to my roots and who I always was, and who I always was, and more accepting of who I am, and more healing, and more healing, and more healing. And then I'm able to also go to this thing, the Akashic Records. I can also do a whole bunch of other stuff. It freed me out of that burn. In this life, I finally chose myself. Because how I actually got fired is I stood up to her at the final straw. I stood up to her. I was fired the next day. Whatever. But out of all of that, I'm in front of you now. I very much went, Courtney, you're a well-rounded person within your faith structure. Stop judging yourself, love yourself, and do what you're called to do. If that contract had not been in place in this life, I cannot say that I would be in front of you right now. It's a small contract. Small. She came in once, I got burned. She came in again, I got fired. Isn't it interesting we use the same terms? So, after I get to learn all this stuff, especially through the Akashic after I get to learn all this stuff. Um, I did my cord cutting with her. I told her that the contract is complete, right? I cut all energy to her. I thanked her for her service because, once again, all things in 3D are for you to choose yourself. And even though that's a crappy contract that happened, as most things are, served me greatly, greatly, right? I could return back to that old life too, that my mother and I always knew was, existed. I knew that there was a man that I was involved with. I didn't know who that was until I met Brad. I went, "Oh my God, you're him." All of this comes full circle. So your contracts can be very extensive or they can just be a quick in and out, but it's such a contract that you should be choosing yourself. As in, it could be a boss. It could be a good friend there for like a brief moment in time. But that's the friend that, ooh, you start going down the wrong path with, and you start going, no, 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 I'm not going to do that. I love myself. I love you, man. I hope you do well. Peace be with you. Send them on their way. I choose myself. It could be just brief moment contracts, but those brief moments are those pivot moments. Pivot to change in your life. That is actually a contract. That is, hey, come in this time, at this time, give me a bunch of hell, and then the moment I stand up to you, fire me, um, and then I gotta see what I do with it, because that's not written. Ain't none of that written. None of that is written. Nope, because it's all based on choice. The human free will. It's amazing. It's so amazing. So, there's little contracts. If you think that they've already been fulfilled, because you chose yourself, right? If you can look back on your current life and go, whoa, I actually chose myself in that moment. That was a little contract. Thank that person, not verbally, but right? You can thank that person in your mind. I have an entire video about cutting energetic cords. It was just released recently. It it's right there for you in the videos. So go back through, trace. When was that pivot? I'm gonna choose me. It might have been you leaving a job. It could have been like, "I'm done with this. Ugh." And you left a job and you said, "I choose me. Come hell or high water, no matter what happens, I'm choosing me." That's a pivot moment, right? Whoever really instigated that, probably you have a small contract with. The broader contracts, those are of your soul group that you just keep doing things with, different kind of scenarios, different things that play out, right? So, I'm also going to tell you, I don't know if I actually covered what a soul is, but I tried to. Soul is contract. Not contract. Soul is your consciousness. I'm sorry. I said that at the very beginning. Your soul is your consciousness. This is why when you hear everybody talk, they say, and the consciousness leaves. And the consciousness is so interesting. In one breath, you'll hear one person say soul. The next breath, another person says consciousness. Depending on what you read, what you listen to, what have you, they're talking about the same damn thing. That's why you're going to hear it talk like that. Literally, your soul is your consciousness. That God spark, that flame, that's a little something different. But I can guarantee the people that are watching this, you got one. Cheers. Good for you. Light it up, please. Light it up. So, your consciousness keeps coming back. It comes back with mates because everybody can't do this alone. We're not alone, literally. And then there's big contracts with them, small contracts with your pivot moment people. So there you go. That's the gist. That just took a very long time because I was rambling about a bunch of stuff. That's the gist. Now, to sum up why we are in the time that we're in now is because we're headed into another cycle ending. That's okay. That's okay. It happens. I mean, think about it. We actually do a cycle ending and beginning all the time. It's called reincarnation. It's called death and rebirth, birth and death. We're just doing the same damn thing all the time. But when we come upon a collective cycle ending, we, yes, have not seen it done in a healthy, beneficial way. Is that possible? Yes, it is. Infinite potentialities. If you just came in, please go back to listen to the beginning. Oh, please do so. Infinite potentialities. Infinite. All open right now for us to just grab, to just experience. Okay? So, all potentialities of great cycle endings, great beginnings. Oh my goodness, such great potential out there. But because everything is open, everything, there's also the potential for the worst. The worst, right? Many of us have experienced some kind of catastrophe, one of the cycles ending, either from blowing everything up to the great flood, stuff that came before, what have you, because the majority of the souls on the planet now have already experienced this once. That is the feeling. That is the feeling. That is why we're all being called to this grand awakening in a way, because we know, goodness gracious, we don't want to go through that again. So, I'm glad you're aware. I'm glad you have that feeling. How are we going to do it differently, though? Because we have yet, as humans, as yet, because we are humans living a spiritual experience. I'm totally going to get that line changed. No, I am. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So, we are humans living a spiritual experience instead of spiritual beings living a human experience. Changes it entirely. So, none of us humans, though, until this opportunity moment in time right now present, um, we have not as a collective chosen to go a smoother, more gentle, let's walk through the cycle ending instead of blowing up the cycle ending, right? We have not chosen that yet. And I started this video talking about, and I don't know if it's because of the forgetfulness, because we think that there's a whole bunch that we still have to do, or if we are just in the repetitive nature cycle reincarnation, right? The repetitiveness of doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. And it might be all of it, all the above. But what I do know is that we have the opportunity to change it. And we do have the opportunity to definitely walk through the cycle ending. Hell, even, I don't know, jump over it if you want to, right? Like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to do it like it's always been done. Not at all. And it perplexes me that we think we have to, as if there is a rule book or a playbook or this is a game. It's not in any way, shape, or form. We're creating constantly. Creation is not a game. It's very interesting. So, in regards to that, I'm hoping that some of this, what is a soul? What's a soulmate? You're in groups. That is your community, your soul community. You're in groups and you have these soul contracts. So, are we here to learn lessons? Because everyone probably here on the YouTube and everywhere else, yada yada, they are going to pronounce and tell you that you're with your soulmate to learn lessons, or you're here to learn lessons in this earth school. And unfortunately, I do have to admit, my beloved Manly P. Hall would say the same. There's only one lesson, but for some reason, we still can't learn it. So therefore, we had to keep getting these opportunities to establish it, to grab it, to own it, to do it. So it's not really lessons, it's opportunities to practice the one thing that we are supposed to do. The one thing. So, why I stress so much that third dimensional consciousness living, third dimensional third dimensional consciousness living, because that's all it is. You're only experiencing 3D. You can choose to experience a different D. You can choose. It's a choice. So, the only reason, or when I said that, though, it's all designed, the density energy of 3D dimensional living density judgment. I call it it's the density of judgment. That's what we're in. That's what I call it. Not saying that there's not judgment in 5D. There is judgment in 5D, but it's definitely not as dense. Um, the that is all designed for you to choose yourself, right? For you to choose yourself, love yourself. Love yourself, heal yourself, love yourself, find your joy. Find your joy, right? And start living it. Start doing it. Because on the onset, the flip side, however you want me to say it, we then love one another. This is the old saying, the old cliche of you can't love another until you love yourself. That shit is true. 3D is requesting for you to choose yourself. So we can't be angry at 3D, the land of judgment. We can't be angry at it because it's actually serving us greatly. If we would take every opportunity to do so, to choose ourselves and love ourselves. Because why? Let's say you do that and you go, ooh. And then I hear about like this fifth dimensional living and seventh dimensional living, right? So then we start experiencing different. We start experiencing different based on the love that we are honing inside of us, growing and developing and healing and taking care of, right? That love you can truly start giving another, truly start giving another is higher dimensional living. It is. We have one thing to do, and that is to love. We have one thing, to love. I would also want to add to love the entirety, the whole, the all, definitely the earth that we live on, everything. It is to love. And it is kind of mind-boggling to me that we think that it's lessons. Lessons to do what? Learn what? I don't get that. Learn what, do what? Especially when it sounds like a contradiction when we say, okay, and then when we die, we go back to wherever we came from, review what we did, and say, I didn't really do that the best that I would like to. Let me go back down and do it again. the exact same way because apparently I need to learn, even though when you're standing right in front of your life review somewhere else outside of the judgment of 3D, um, you know it all already. You you know that you know what the right thing to do in that is. You know that apparently you need the lesson because you already know the answer. None of this makes any damn sense. I'm sorry, logic even says this. Logic should be telling you that doesn't make any sense. We're not here to learn lessons. We're here to demonstrate love, to demonstrate pure, authentic love. It That's it. And when you can start doing that, oh, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. If we're in using the game cliche, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different experience. Unfortunately, very few people do that. Very few people do that. Like, that's why people love the New Testament, love the whole Christ consciousness thing, love what he said in the Nag Hammadi scriptures, which all over that, he is definitely saying to choose yourself, um, and empower yourself, right? Everybody loves the Christ consciousness, which is beautiful, it's great, when he repeatedly gave examples, parables, like, he kept trying demonstrations, physical, mental, spiritual, all the different demonstrations to people, all the words, all the stories, all the this, all the scenarios, all the what ifs, all the he did all of that, all the examples, all of it. He gave a ton of them. And it truly just comes down to love. It truly just comes down to love. But we tend to mix love in with everybody else but me. When I just gave a very long example as to it starts with you. Love yourself, have faith in yourself, and you have faith in yourself because you know you're going to go out there and you're going to shine your light and you're going to be the love. Because you just found out why you came in the first place. You just found out and figured out what this whole thing's all about. That's when you get faith for yourself. That's when you truly get faith for an internal self. When you go, there is no mountain. Whew, there's no obstacles. I'm instantaneous manifestation. I am creation. I am the truth, the light, the way. Right? There is no mountain. It is man who tells you that you have to climb the mountain. But the faith within you, after you love yourself, tells you there's no mountain. And based on that, it is that higher love that you obtain and start spreading it, exuding it, sh- sending it all out. And that is the one objective we have. That's the one thing. So people can call them lessons. I don't people can call them lessons, but we're not learning anything. The difference is we're not choosing. We're not choosing ourselves. We're not choosing to change. We're not learning anything. You've been here forever. Ever. We're not learning anything. But we're surely not choosing ourselves. We're surely not having faith in ourselves. That can lead to the one thing we're supposed to be doing. Love. Just love. Simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. I can't believe, that's why I said in this, in prior shows, I've said, there's only a few quote unquote things we have to learn. I didn't it's because I kept trying to figure out how do I give a bunch of examples of what it is. How do you kind of, quote unquote say I hate saying this cliche or this saying of like how do you beat a dead horse? You know what I mean? You can't like everything's already been said. I can't say it any better than the Christ consciousness. My goodness, everything's already been said. Love your enemy like you love yourself. Love your brother as you love yourself. Everything is love yourself because it's supposed to start with self. Love your spouse like you love yourself. Lo- So, I didn't think I could say it any better than that one did. So, I just kept kind of not knowing what to do with that. But then because of the time June 25th, 2025 or June 2025, because everything is open now, I decide, well, shoot, I need to talk about that. It was on my plans to talk about soulmates and soul groups and soul contracts. Let's just throw everything in the mix and see what happens because, that's how I roll. I literally cannot give every example as to how love is the only thing that matters and the only thing that we need to do. Like, we literally don't have to do anything else. Anything else. Zero. We only need to love. That's the only homeostasis of our being. And these bodies of form as well, this human body. That is its natural state of being. It truly is. It just hasn't been for a long time. So we don't really have to do anything else because once you're in that, everything just flows. Everything's groovy. Everything's great. All is natural. We're in homeostasis. It's the flipping Garden of Eden. We're great. We don't have to do anything else. So one damn thing we seem to not be able to do though. So it's a choice. I love y'all. Um Scotty. Oh geez. I Everyone take this as you may. I might have to change the title and maybe do another video more clearly about souls. Um the main thing I want to stress is everything in 3D is for you to choose yourself. Love yourself. Spend time with yourself. Love yourself. As in change. Change. You can do it differently. I've given many examples from my own life that I've lived right now. Yes, you can change. You can definitely change it up. You can, even if Edgar Casey is saying we retrace our steps, well, then I said it this past Wednesday or whenever that last video was, you change it up then. You put on dancing shoes. We don't have to keep retracing our steps, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results when we're not even aware of it. So just right now, just completely put on new dancing shoes. Do a bunch of two-stepping all over the place, right? You don't have to repeat. You do not have to repeat. And that's not in a way of, oh my goodness, you have to get it right. That's another thing. Actually, I was gonna let you go, but I got one more thing to say. There is no destination. There is no destination. There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is no destination to get to. Even if let's say you're a galactic being and you go to another planet or you go to another dimension, it's the same jazz. There is no, you get to, there is no, exact purity. You're not going to return to source. You're already here. You're already here. You're not doing that. That's not so there is no destination, is all I'm just saying. There's there's no way to you're not beating anything because there's nothing to beat. There's no so many gold coins to get you into heaven. That's not a thing. It's literally not a thing. You can ascend, you can evolve consciously, you can go to other planets, you can go to other dimensions, but there's not this destination that you're not gonna have other experiences elsewhere that are not just as troublesome as here. It's not a thing, and we know this when we leave. When we leave, we go, "Hmm, well, I would love to go back to that Earth place because Earth is wonderful. Earth is the firstborn. Earth is the most special. Earth is great. And for however many Earths there are in other dimensions, I'm going to go back to Earth because I want to take care of her. I want to love her because I want to be a human who lives a spiritual experience. I want to love her. I want to love everybody else. I want to love, 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 love. And we can do it more so here on earth than we can do elsewhere. That's the one big difference. We can do that more so here on earth than we can do elsewhere because here you have to strive for it harder. So it's more impactful. It's more delightful. That's the only difference. There's no destination. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Because even if you did, like I said, let's say you go to another planet, you're hanging out there for a little while, you're going to choose to come back. You can't come to Earth and not decide to come back. She's got that gravity to her, man. She's got something about her, right? So, know you're coming back, and it's not based on any lessons. It's based on your choosing to come back because this place is awesome, and you want to learn or you want to experience and demonstrate and spread love. That's what you want. That's what you want to do. That's all. That's it. That's it. Yep. That's it. So I'm sure, I'm hoping that this cycle that's going to be ending at some point, um, later. This is not like this weekend, later, much later. I'm hoping we keep pushing that off. Um, we can choose. We can choose how we're going to walk through it or not, how we're going to go through it as a collective. We can choose. So, but we've never chosen differently before, so we can change. That's all I wanted to say for an hour and 48 minutes. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys have fun. Um, yeah, compassion for self and others. Yeah. I'll leave with what my teacher says, and it's lovely. Um, she says, "I am as you are. You are as I am. It is as you are." So good night, everybody. I'll catch you on the flip side. If you missed the beginning, please go back. So much more of this will make sense. Bye, folks.